Okay, welcome back, girls. So the next part of this question is a material usage budget. So we'll put our title over here. Material usage budget. And this budget is about forecasting or budgeting how much materials you'll need in order to manufacture or produce the number of units that you wish to produce. Okay, so since it's about materials this time, we don't have the same column headings. So these were all about the finished products that you were going to produce. Now it's about the amount of materials you need for these finished products. And they make it nice and simple in this question. Instead of having dozens of materials going to each product, is just a material A and a material B that goes into making each of the gold star and silver star. Okay, so our two headings then are going to be material A and material B. So material A, material B. Okay, so I've left a bit of space here, you'll see in a minute, between columns because of the workings that we're going to have to be doing in this particular type of budget. So first of all, we want to find out how much of material A and material B we'll need to make all the gold stars that we intend to make. Okay, so we have to look back to the production budget to see how many gold stars we intend to produce or to make, and that's 1,430. Okay, so then we look over here, and for material A, it's 2 grams for every gold star that we make. 2 grams of material goes into making one of them, 5 grams of material B goes in. So for material A, we'll have 2 grams for each one of these that we make. We're going to make 1,430, so it's going to be 1,430 multiplied by 2 will give us how much material A in grams we'll need to make the number of gold stars that we need to make. So that's what? 2,860, isn't it? Okay, and the space I left here is just so we can do the workings for how much material B will need to make all of these gold stars. So again, it's just going to be 1,430 multiplied by however many grams of material B go into each one of the gold stars. And again, if we go back here, 5 grams of material B goes into making each one gold star. So I'll multiply that by 5, and give me a moment with this. That's 150, I would say. Okay, you might double check my figures afterwards, just in case. Okay, so that's all of the material A, and the material B you'll need in grams to produce all the gold stars you need. So now we want to see what materials we need for the silver stars. So again, we'll start with how many silver stars do we want to produce? 1,740. Okay, we're going to multiply it by the amount of grams of material A that goes into one silver star. In this case, it's 3 grams. Okay, and 3 times that, give me a moment here again, is what, 220, I believe. So again, to find out the amount of material B, it's going to be 1,740 silver stars we're going to produce, multiplied by the number of grams of material that goes into, of material B rather, that goes into each silver star, which in this case is 4 grams. Again, we'll have to multiply that out, and that's going to be 6960, I believe. But again, double check it just in case. And then all we do for our material usage, we add each of these together to get our total material A we need to use and our total material B we need to use. So adding this, 88, isn't it? 8080, and we put definitely the unit of measure after this. Grams, this was use grams. And over here, 11, 14, isn't it? 14,110 then, and again grams. And I would just, you don't always have to put this in here, but I would say that represents our budgeted material usage. Okay, so next thing we're asked to do is to get the material purchases budget in units. Okay, does it say just in units? Yeah, just in units. Okay, I wonder if, yeah, fair enough. Sometimes that's in units and in euros if they give you a cost price for each gram of the material, but perhaps that's just at higher level. So our next thing is material purchases. Purchase, just I suppose would be fine. Budget. And since we're still talking about materials, we'll go for material A and material B again. Okay. Okay, so in order to find out how much material we need to purchase, we need first of all to look at how much material that we're going to use in the production process, or that we forecast we're going to use in the production process. So our first thing would be budgeted usage, I'm going to say. Usage. Okay, and from here we already did in the previous budget that we're going to use 8080 material A and 14110 of material B. So that's what we intend to use. But we have the same thing going on as we had in the production budget, that we might want to not cut things too tight and have some materials left over afterwards, a closing stock of materials. And also we might already have an opening stock of materials in the warehouse, so we might not need to purchase all of this much. It might be slightly less or slightly more, depending on what our opening and closing stock are. So we use the same rules as above here, so I'm going to do it pretty quickly. We add the closing stock and we subtract the closing stock, and that will get our amount that we ought to be purchasing of materials, for the same reasons that we added the closing stock and we subtracted the opening stock up here. So let's just write it down. Add closing stock, and then less opening stock. Okay, and that's going to give us our budgeted purchases. I'll put on material purchases. Okay, so the closing stock of material A, if we go over here again, this was the stocks of finished goods. We should also have down below here stocks of raw materials, so material A and material B. So we were going to add the closing stocks first, so it was 240 and 430. So 240, 430, a line under each of these, and we're adding, so 320, that okay? And then we're doing the same thing over here, 0, 14,540. Okay, so then we go back, we're going to subtract the opening stock, and the opening stock is 210 and 300 respectively. So 210, 300. Okay, and we're subtracting, so in accounting we tend to use these brackets to show that these are minus figures or subtracting figures, if you like. So subtracting that is 8110, and once we get our final figure as well, I am inclined to then put in the unit of measure, so it's grams, isn't it? And over here we're subtracting this, what's that? 14,240 grams. Okay, so that's our materials purchase budget.